Hang on. Let me fix hair. I'm going to give it a minute since I know there's lag. But once you see this, let me know you can hear me. Say hi. Let me know you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. I'm trying to do too many things at the same time. It's fine. Okay. Let me go here. Still waiting. This is we're learning how to do things. So let me see here. Here, no C. Okay, so hear me. Pretty bad right now. My voice is too soft? Okay. Excuse me. Okay. This is why we do these things. So that way this can be fixed and all of that. That is weird because my OBS shows that I have video. Okay. Well, then video, you can just go away. Hello, everyone. Yay. I'll probably post pictures later of my face. But hello and welcome officially to the very first ever masterclass hosted by yours truly, Carrot Connor. I'm one of those. I'm either name, if whatever you want to call me as. So basically, for today's masterclass, it's going to be all about dynamics. It's going to be all about volume. In pieces of music that you see, the volume is what is shown at the bottom of the music. It's weird letters, it's weird symbols, it's things that as musicians we know, but as people who don't know music, you see that and you just go, what is going on? It's weird symbols, it's things that we know. People who don't know music, you see that and you just go, what is going on? Symbols. Hold on real quick. Okay, there. All right. So let's go ahead and get going. All right. Who am I? Well, I'm Carrot. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in the United States. Specifically, I am from the state of Texas. One of the other members of management, Miss Donna, is also from Texas. And we get very Texan at times. However, I live nowhere near Texas. I actually live in South Korea. I moved to South Korea last year in February 2020, and where I actually worked in Gwangju, Hobi City, as an English teacher. And earlier this year, I actually moved to another city called Daejeon, that's about 2 hours north of Gwangju, where I am still an English teacher. But that's just a little bit about me. I don't know what's going to be happening next year. I don't know if I'm going to stay in Korea or any of that. That's something for later down the road. If there's any hissing you're hearing, it's probably my AC going on. It can get rather warm in my apartment, so these things are just things that need to be fixed. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm having to bounce between everything to make sure everything is going okay. So if there's like periods of time where I'm not talking, it's because I'm bouncing from one system to another to make sure that everything is going okay and everything's working okay. So some people are probably wondering, well, what experience do I personally have in music? What is my music background? How do I know everything that I know? And how can I be able to have conversations with like Donna or Maddie, who is the queen of theory? Okay, fix. Well, I have over 20 years of experience itself in music. Let me just go ahead and move that completely. Yes. Um, I have over 20 years of experience. I started in music just as a little girl, as a small child, just singing in church choirs and school choirs. Never really focused a lot on singing, but in 2005, I started playing clarinet. And the only reason I picked up clarinet was because my brother was playing trumpet. So starting in 2005, I started learning clarinet, and I've been playing clarinet ever since. I've been playing clarinet for about 15 years now. Oh Lord, it has been 15 years. With breaks here and there, especially after graduating from university, and also especially now that I'm in Korea, I'm not really able to play. And trust me, I hate that I can't play right now, and it's the one thing I want to do. When I was in university, I was a music minor and was the principal clarinetist for my university's wind ensemble. I also played for the Greater Fort Worth Community Band while in university and a little bit after I graduated university. And then I played with the Arlington Community Band for the city of Arlington in North Texas until I moved to Korea last year. So that's just a little bit about my musical experience. I am a wind player. I'm not a vocalist. I don't pretend to be a vocalist. I'm not a pianist. I'm a wind player. I can be able to tell you everything that deals with wind instruments. And so dynamics especially is a little more wind heavy because we're the ones that use dynamics a lot. We're the ones that use dynamics to really tell the story whenever it comes to that kind of emotion, because of the fact that we can be able to change the amount of air we're using. We're not using our vocal cords like vocalists are using, or a bow. We're using actual air. So before we get into what dynamics are exactly, let's get into the actual language of music. So everyone knows music itself is its own language. Music itself is that's really good. Sorry, again, I'm jumping back and forth to make sure I get everything, make sure everything's working properly. So music itself is its own language. We always say that music is the universal language. Any musician, no matter where they are in the world, can be able to get together, put an piece of music in front of them, and they can play it. They know what the notes are, they know what the notes mean, they know what the symbols are, they know all of that, which is very true. But the terms in music had to start somewhere. Everything had to start somewhere. Everything that deals with any language starts somewhere. And for music, the terms itself are predominantly Italian. France developed ballet and developed the dance world, Italy developed the music world, especially during the Renaissance. And Renaissance is Shakespeare and Da Vinci and Michelangelo and all those guys. So music is going to be predominantly Italian. So I'm going to be speaking actual Italian. And it's something that we're used to. Let me switch over to okay, making sure everything's okay. So let me switch back here. So let's get into actual dynamics. So we're going to go over what dynamics are, the different terms of dynamics, how they're used in music, and then we're going to look at some sheet music that shows the dynamics, and I'm going to play some pieces that I either found while putting this together or pieces that I've personally played. So you're going to be seeing clarinet parts. Specifically, you'll be seeing first clarinet, which would have been the parts that I would have played. To show how the dynamics work and how they especially work with wind instruments. Again, we control sound, we control how loud or soft something is by our air. So I can be able to play either really loud and cover everyone as a clarinetist, or I can be really soft and have everyone cover me. It all depends on the air itself. So specifically, what are dynamics? The simple definition of dynamics, one second. Okay, sorry, I had to take a drink. The simple definition of dynamics is volume. It's how loud or how soft we play something in music. Playing, singing, it's how loud or how soft we do it. The complex version, and this is the complex version I thought of, I didn't actually look up the real complex version. It is a state in which a musician can either raise or lower the amount of air, stress, pressure on a phrase of notes that's written in music. And notes is something that we'll go over a different class. I have plans, so we're going to be spending an entire class based on certain things, and then we're going to put classes and put them all together to where they all make sense. Dynamics themselves tell a musician how loud or soft to play a set of notes. I can look at music and see, okay, I see this weird P symbol. Okay, I'm supposed to play that volume until I see something else. The further you get into music, the further you'll realize that professional musicians or musicians who've played for years, we can be able to tell where the dynamics actually change, especially in music that we've known for over 100 years. However, there are 4 main dynamic markings that you will always see, and it's going to be P, MP, MF, and F. Those are the main 4. We have some other ones that get thrown in there. We'll go over some of the other ones, but those are the main ones that we'll always see. We all know what these 4 mean. If there's one that we don't know, we figure it out. We kind of use like a process of elimination. So the first one, the beautiful P, means piano. Not in an actual piano. So piano, sorry, horrible Italian. Piano in Italian means soft. So soft, it's quiet, it's depending on how the music is, it's either going to sound very eerie or it's going to sound really, really pretty. It's very powerful. It's used to create a mood or change the mood or change the theme, and it helps with telling the overall story that goes with music itself. So think about it this way. Dynamics and volume go hand in hand when we're talking. So think about whenever you're talking and you're in a library, you're studying in a library. You're not going to shout, "I need help," or shout to your friends, "Hey, do you know the answer?" You're going to speak very quietly. You're going to whisper. about what someone is saying, or like you're going to whisper to them. Whispering, if you touch your vocal cords, you don't feel them when you whisper. That's piano. So that way you can be able to connect piano to how we play. When you're whispering, you're speaking very softly, you're speaking piano. However, piano and another term that we'll get to is very unique because we can add things to it to make music even softer than what you think it is. And what we add to it is another P. This term is called pianissimo. Yes, I said it very American, very English, it's fine. This other P just makes it sound even softer. We can go from piano to pianissimo, back up to piano very, very easily. Sometimes we'll call it a double P. The issa, though, that's the important part. The issa in piano means more or very. We can add as many P's as we want to a piano. And the technical term for however many, you would just keep adding issa. Issa, until you get to the end. And you can add mo. However, a lot of times in music, we'll typically see about 3 to 4 P's bunched together. The more common one is 2, but sometimes you'll see 3 or 4. And again, that's to really set the mood. That's really to set the change in the theme and what's actually happening in the overall song and the overall piece. So, also, if you have any questions, please make sure to use the chat. I have the chat up. I may not get to it right away, but I do have it up, and I'm checking connection. Okay. So, you guys got to see something else. That was fun. So, our next one. So now we have piano. We have pianissimo. Our next one is mezzo piano. This is our next dynamic marking. As we know, the piano stands for soft. It means soft. Mezzo can mean a little or moderately. A lot of times for us, mezzo piano means moderately soft. So just like that speaking analogy we were using with piano, mezzo piano is when you're speaking softly. You're not whispering because you can feel your vocal cords, but you're not talking your normal volume and you're not shouting. It's quiet. That would be mezzo piano. So, now that we've gotten through these soft dynamic markings, remember, piano always means soft. Quiet, it's used to either make something really eerie or something really pretty. Now let's get into the louder ones, the ones that I like, because they're easier for me to play as a clarinetist. The next one we have is mezzo forte. Mezzo means the moderately, or it means a little, but forte. Forte means loud in Italian, and we'll get into exactly what forte is and what we can do with forte a little later. Now, with mezzo forte, this is your normal speaking voice. I'm a clarinetist. I am a teacher. I am a loud talker. My mezzo forte is going to be different than someone else's mezzo forte. But it's your normal, regular speaking voice. So this voice that I'm speaking right now, this is mezzo forte. If earlier, whenever everyone was saying that the stream was really quiet, that would be mezzo piano to piano, if that all makes sense. So, what exactly is forte? Oh, I love this one so much. Forte means loud. It's as simple as that. Forte means loud, and it's used constantly in music. I love forte so much because there can be lines where there's no dynamic markings whatsoever, and then all of a sudden you just see a forte, and you're finally going, yes, I know what to play. I know how loud to be. Forte, with our speaking analogy, you're in a very crowded place. You're not at a BTS concert, but you're in a restaurant. You're in a very crowded restaurant, and it's when you're speaking louder than normal. Um, I am a forte. I'm always a forte. Actually, I'm louder than a forte. So, in all actuality, with speaking louder than normal, think of it as if you're in theater, there's a word that we use called projection. It's where you're talking really loud, but you're not shouting. You're just making your sound, making your air go out. That's forte. And also, how I mentioned piano, there's another one we can add stuff to. Forte is the one we can add stuff to make it even louder, and sometimes that's really great, and other times you're just going, please Lord save my ears. When you're sitting next to trumpet players, it's a please Lord save my ears. And what I mean by that is fortissimo. I love it. I hate it with brass. I hate it with brass. So just like piano, you can add more Fs to forte, and you can get fortissimo. The issa, always remember, the issa means more. It means very. So fortissimo can mean, it means very loud, or it means louder. Normally, with fortissimo, you see about 2 or 3. Fortissimos tend to be used at the climax of the piece. Especially if it's a beautiful, beautiful slow piece that it's telling a really great story, and it's just this huge build-up point. You'll have this huge build-up, and then all of a sudden it's fortissimo. It's not even forte, it's fortissimo. Because you're trying to make this huge point. This is the climax of the piece, and then all of a sudden it just dies. It just goes away. I don't want to say dies away, even though that's a music thing, but it slowly goes away. 2 or 3 is normal. However, I've played pieces where I've seen 4. And my director would literally look at the music and look at what notes I'm playing. And would look at the clarinet section or the woodwind section. And they would literally say, okay, woodwinds, you're not playing 4 Fs, you're playing 2. Knock 2 out. So we would have to go with our pencils and take 2 out. Because we're not the important part, like the brasses. So the brass should be at quad forte, and the woodwind should be at double forte. If that all makes sense. So let's see how we can use. Let's see how this looks like in music. We're gonna listen to some music examples that use different dynamic levels, so that way you get an idea of piano, mezzo forte, and even the issas, the pianissimo and the fortissimo. I'm gonna show you sheet music or a score. I think these 3 that I'm showing you, these 3 are all sheet music. So just try to follow. I'm not expecting you to follow. I'm gonna follow for you. I'm going to point out where everything is. At first, one of the pieces is just going to sound really loud from beginning to end, but I'll show you exactly where. Okay, this is where this part is. This is where it's actually softer. This is where it's lighter instead of really heavy, because forte can also be used as like very heavy and very grit, and the piano is like nice and soft and light, and it's supposed to take some of that edge away of the music that's happening. And that's why dynamics are really big in storytelling, and especially with instrumental music where we don't have words. We're having to tell the story through our instruments and through the music that we're playing. Two of the 3 pieces that I'm going to show you, I've played in high school, I've played in university, I've played way too many times and I would be okay with never playing again, or I would have played in either of the community ensembles that I was in. The first one we're going to listen to and look at is called O Magnum Mysterium. This is a very slow piece. This is a very beautiful piece. It's mostly soft, but you'll be able to hear the subtle changes between like the instruments getting louder and then getting softer. This one's the one I would not mind ever playing again. I wouldn't mind. The next one is Blue and Green. This one is actually a piece I've not played. I've listened to it yesterday and I absolutely love it. This composer is Samuel R. Hazo. I have played pieces by him. He is a phenomenal composer. But you're going to hear stuff from my all-time favorite wind composer ever, and I love the other composer more. The piece by Hazo that I have played is called Ride. Ride is a very fast, very quick piece, and it's for people who've never looked at music, you're going to find that it's very quick and that I'm already on the next page. I'm already going to the next one. I'm already saying the next thing, kind of thing. So let's go ahead and switch over. Let me see here. I need to go to this is the Rhapsody I was playing. We're going to go to O Magnum Mysterium. I was listening to these earlier. I love these pieces. I just would not mind ever playing them again. Alright, so, O Magnum Mysterium. Notice, before I play, notice the starting dynamic marking right here. Don't start playing yet, computer. Notice that the dynamic marking right here is, it's slowly. Stop. There. Okay. Notice that right here, it's piano. So it's naturally going to be soft. All the instruments are going to be very soft. And you see that there's no dynamic change. No dynamic change. No. Okay, there's a new one. Mezzo piano. So we're going to play a little louder. And then all of a sudden, we have this weird symbol here that I'll get to. And then we have mezzo forte. Okay, so it's a little louder. Okay. So it's growing. But then it goes right back to soft. And it stays mezzo piano, and it's mezzo piano, and then it goes right back into piano. Now and it stays like, now this is very interesting. Again, this is first clarinet. This is the part that I've played. Right here you see pianissimo, but you also see under trumpet solo. So the trumpet's supposed to be the loud instrument. This is supposed to be really soft. So here I would play really, really soft, keep playing soft, and then we go back to that main mezzo piano to mezzo forte. And right here, mezzo piano to mezzo forte, and back down to mezzo piano, down here over to piano. And this is a very, very soft piece. It's a beautiful piece. So this piece is arrangement. O Magnum Mysterium is originally a vocal piece, and vocalists are known for being able to sing very, very soft and pretty and quiet. Instrumentalists, it takes years and years of practice to be able to play soft and pretty and quiet. And this is the piece that really tests our knowledge of volume. We have to make sure we're not louder than another instrument. We have to make sure that we're not louder than the people next to us. It's a lot of listening that we have to do. And so this is a piece that is typically, I found this. So we're going to ignore that. Thank you, pigs. Yay. Right here we get to pianissimo. Again, ignore the stuff that's on the lines. We're looking at the bottom. We're not looking at the top. We're not looking in the middle. We're just looking at the bottom. I'm going to be looking at everything because that's what I do. That's what instrumentalists do. I don't want, if you're brand new to music, I don't want you to look at the middle and get freaked out. I will explain all of this, everything that's in the middle, in a different class. I want you to focus on the bottom. Don't focus on everything else, just the bottom. Okay? So then we have a pianissimo right here, and everything changes, and we're getting towards the end, and then all of a sudden, we have a forte. This is the climax of the piece. So this is the climax of the O Magnum Mysterium. Climax, climax, climax. And this is the highest it gets, is right here. This is the top of the piece. After this point, it's going to get back to being softer. Like right here, it goes fortissimo. And then instead of dropping to forte to mezzo piano, it goes from fortissimo to mezzo piano. That's kind of normal. We'll either go from fortissimo to mezzo forte, or a lot of times we'll go from fortissimo to piano, because of the fact that we're out of the climax sequence. We're now getting into the end of the piece. We're now continuing the piece. And then we have another mezzo forte, but again, it's that same kind of melody theme that's going on. We have our forte, mezzo piano, and then we go to piano, and it stays piano, and it stays piano, and then it goes into pianissimo, and then it goes away. It just goes away. Another thing with these kind of arrangements, especially arrangements that were originally vocal pieces, the clarinet tends to get all of the soprano lines, the soprano or alto line. So you notice if I was playing this, I'm playing the entire piece. If you're not well trained, meaning if you haven't spent like 3 years learning the clarinet, this is a piece you shouldn't play because of how difficult it is muscle-wise. The notes are like what you're seeing in the music is easy. It's a slow tempo, which is a little tricky, but it's control. That's what makes this piece actually very difficult. So now that we've gone over what all of the dynamics are, let's listen to O Magnum Mysterium. Remember, it's still piano. Still piano, technically. We're still in piano. Supposed to be the loud one. The trumpet's supposed to be. But even then, the trumpet's not even that loud. The trumpet's at most mezzo piano, maybe mezzo forte. Like kind of right in that middle. We call that's like a mezzo piano plus. Of control. Yes. That's why this is not an easy piece. It looks easy. This is not an easy piece. And it's about to get right back here into piano. you hear how they slowly, slowly, slowly kept getting softer into this. And we'll go over what this is. This is my favorite. So now let's listen to blue and green. I was about to say blue and gray as much as I want to. Blue and green. So like last time, let's go over the markings. So we have piano here. Again, ignore this. Ignore everything in the middle. Ignore all the black. We're looking at the bottom black. That's it. So we have piano here. And then mezzo piano. Mezzo piano again. Mezzo forte. Mezzo forte. So whenever it's mezzo forte, mezzo piano, that's kind of, we're playing in our main volume setting. It's not there's not huge difference as wind players. There's really not huge difference for us between mezzo forte and mezzo piano. Instead of just like, okay, we're gonna make this just a smidge higher or a smidge louder. We're not gonna make this really, really crazy. For us, we really like seeing piano, forte, fortissimo, pianissimo, because for us, that's what those dynamics mean. We don't. Dynamics really do make. There's a reason I would not mind not playing it again because of the dynamics. That's what makes it really hard. So I always get confused with mezzo piano, mezzo forte because of there's not a huge difference between them playing wise. Like if I could play, I would play what those would sound like and you wouldn't hear much of a difference. So then we have a forte. But with this piece, the forte, with this one, the forte doesn't mean this is the climax like it did with O Magnum. With blue and green, the forte means this is the peak of this phrase. This is the start of this phrase. And I'll get into what all of that means. All right. Then we have piano, we have forte, and then we have a pianissimo. Beautiful. We have a forte, a mezzo forte, pianissimo. I'll get into what this is and what that means. Pianissimo, a mezzo forte, another forte, mezzo piano, a forte, but then you get into a fortissimo. This would be the top. Now, remember how I told you that sometimes we have more than just two? This right here would be called a technical term for fortissimo. You heard two issas. Fortissimo. That's the technical term right here. A lot of times, and I kind of did say it, a lot of times, especially whenever we're rehearsing, we'll say, okay, this is double forte. This is a double forte, double F. So that's how loud we need to play. Okay, this is a triple F. Because we don't want to keep saying fortissa, issa. That gets annoying. We'll spend 20 minutes just saying issas. Triple forte. Let's all play triple forte, please. It's easier. But here's the peak. This right here, this right here is the peak. This is the climax. Because notice how it goes from triple forte to mezzo piano to pianissimo all the way. And you notice this time there's not a go into nothing. Go just slowly go away. Slowly stop your sound. This is we're playing softly until the director cuts us off and tells us to stop playing kind of thing. So this is Blue and Gray. This is a piece I want to play. I've listened to it and it's beautiful. Or not Blue and Gray, Blue and Green. I want to listen to Blue and Gray now. But Blue and Green. It's soft in my ears too, so it's going to be really soft for you guys. So, you probably noticed something where I said the triple F, the triple forte. You didn't hear the triple forte. That is a director's choice. It's written in the music. It's up to the director to say, okay, let's do it, or no, we're going to say double forte instead. That is a director's choice. That's not a composer. The composer wants triple forte. He wouldn't put it in the piece if it's not going to be triple forte. The director said, no, we're going to do double forte. So that's that one. Now for our last, before we get into more, because we have a few more, and then we'll be done. Ride. Again, Ride is really, really fast. It's really, really fast. If I hadn't played it, I probably would have gotten lost following along with it. So let's look at this one. Is going to be a little. It's going to be it looks like this on my screen. It will look like this on y'all's. Immediately, we start with fortissimo. This is a piece where the dynamics show the change in the storytelling. So we have double forte here. And what I mean by the change in storytelling, we immediately dropped piano. And it stays in piano until we get to forte. And then it stays forte until we get to mezzo forte. So, and then mezzo piano. And then forte again. I know, high school. I know, high school band. Oh my goodness. Yes, trust me, I know. And then we keep going. Again, we're staying at forte for a long time. And then we're going to fortissimo. So double forte. And then we're staying at double forte. And then lots of, these are called rests. Lots of rests. Rest, 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 rest. Piano. This is the spot I would always get lost in. Because you'll find out why. So piano and then forte. By the way, this is a very common piece to play in high school band because of its speed. This is actually a good piece to play outside because it's very brass heavy and not woodwind heavy like a ballad is. This is very brass heavy. So this is like a perfect piece to put onto a football field for marching band. I've seen it done. It's actually really cool. Yes, in the stands. Not in the stands, on the field. So we have forte. And then all of a sudden we go to mezzo forte. And then forte again. I play incredibly high notes. Fortissimo. Now you notice how I'm not saying there's a climax in here. There's a climax in here. There's not really one. Whenever it's really fast like this, there's sometimes not really a climax because the dynamics don't really tell the story. It's more so this is an edgy piece, and so the dynamics are taking the edge off. kind of thing. It's not a, this is the top of the piece. It's a, okay, the dynamics are taking the edge away, so we're not in your face. We're going to back up a little bit before we go right back into your face. Because right here it goes into double F, again, fortissimo, mezzo piano. I played Sousa too. I can't stand clarinetist, Sousa. We're going to get to Sousa. You'll see. Sousa nightmares are going to return. So then we have mezzo piano, then forte, and then we go back to the theme, fortissimo, and then piano, mezzo piano, forte, fortissimo, mezzo piano, fortissimo. We'll get to this one. This is called a forte piano. We'll get to what that one means. Oh, look, we have a triple F and a quadruple F right here. As a woodwind player, I cannot play this and sound very pretty. My triple F or my quadruple F is like a triple F plus. It's not even, it's not 4. So I always tend to go, okay, I'm going to do double F. So now that we have ride, now we've gone over the dynamics for ride, the main ones, let's listen to this crazy, crazy piece. Sousa's everywhere. Sousa's just, it's Sousa. It's just Sousa. And for people who don't know what we're talking about, Sousa is a very famous American composer who wrote a lot of marches that in the United States we use. He wrote a lot of patriotic marches on top of everything. French horn players hate him so much. And whenever we get to rhythm, our class on rhythm, you'll find out why French horn players hate him. I am not the biggest fan of him because he doesn't allow clarinets to rest. But Sousa. Alright, so this is Ride by Samuel Hazo. Once it loads over, hang on, not responding. It's decided to stop responding. I knew this was going to happen. There we go. Roll down. Piano. Please take the edge off. Saxophone solo is supposed to be at the top. Everything else behind is supposed to be under it. And this is how I always perfect piece to play on a football field. It's the perfect piece. It's the best piece to play on a football field. Donna's showing her Texan. Donna's easily showing her that she is a Texan. No, that ending is just like horns to the box. Like we're just gonna straight line horns to the box, just play as loud as you can. That's what that ending is. Like that's all that is. Alright, let's get back into this. Okay. So you probably saw with ride, we had this symbol right here. This is called a forte piano. This is a very common thing to do when you're trying to put emphasis on like a certain note or on an extended long note without actually making it sound like you're pounding it, if that makes sense. Again, that quad F is like horns to the box. That's what I always think. Every time I hear it, every time I play it, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna do horns to the box. I'm just gonna play that loud. Okay, focusing. This is used for a volume effect. Like you heard where he went. You heard where he went, where they went loud, soft. And they kind of stayed at that soft for that long extended note until it got to, okay, we're gonna play, blow our brains, we're gonna play until our brains explode. Lord, please protect our ears. Our ears are gonna die, or our ears are gonna be gone. But that's also the piece where when you're playing it in a concert band setting, the beginning, whenever it gets to ride the beginning of it, you look to your fellow instrumentalists that you're close, that you're kind of close with, and it's going to be the people who are kind of the same instrument. And you're just going to be like, I'll see you at the end. This piece is fast. I'll see you. Let's probably get there together. Because that's that kind of piece, and we'll go over speed and all that in a different class, because that's just. So forte piano itself only works for the note that it's under. You'll notice that if you ever see a piece of music that has a forte piano, it's only for that one note. It will never be for the note next to it if it happens to be for a quarter note. It'll never be for it won't be for like the entire phrase. It'll only be for that one note. So a lot of times the forte piano tends to be for long notes instead of really short ones. So what you'll do if you see a forte piano, you'll play it loud first. So you'll play it forte, and then you'll immediately back off and then play the rest of it as piano. So it's either, and again, this is also at the director's at the director's extent. They'll either want you to play loud, like especially if it's an extended note or it's a long note. They may want you to play, as Donna said, it's hit the note and then drop it back. Yeah, and this is something that you'll see typically with wind vocalists. This is something that's probably really tricky with vocalists. Like they can kind of do it, but it's tricky. String players, that would have to be, as Shelly would have to comment, since she's our string player if she's still watching. And it would probably depend on bow, but this is easy for wind players to do. This is very easy for a wind player because it's air. That's all this is for us. It's air. So you hit the note, you play it really loud, and then you just immediately back off. But you don't make it sound like you're playing, like you're a bell. It's very, very tricky. It's not like it's a bell sound. It's loud, soft kind of thing. And then you play soft for the rest of it. Now, we're going to get to my favorite one. My absolute favorite one. I love playing loud because playing loud is easy. Playing soft is hard. But I love this one so much. I loved this one as a clarinetist. This one's the one we get to play the most. We're the instrument that gets to do this the most. This is called niente. Niente means nothing in Italian. This is so so with niente, it's typically used at the end of pieces, and it's used at the end of ballads. You saw with O Magnum Mysterium, that's what they did. They went into nothing. They went into niente. This is my favorite one to do because it typically is a clarinetist. It's typically the clarinet section that does this. And it's always at the end of a beautiful ballad that either is like O Magnum, that is just, it's filled with technique, like it's filled with air technique, or another piece that does this a lot. Another piece that's one of my favorites that I've played a few times. It's called Elegy for a Young American. And I want to do that one for a different thing. At the very end of the piece, it gets softer and softer, and then it's at like triple piano, and the director will literally just kind of like, I've had directors kind of just like look at us and then like slowly cut us off because we're going into nothing. We're slowly letting our air go away to where it's just we're blowing hot air into our horn instead of cool air. Or the director will just put their arms down, and it's just like, it's as long as we want it to be. And I love this one so much. I really do. It's my favorite one because I love being able to play into nothing. I love being able to just go into nothing and just leave that suspense, that eerie suspense. I love playing eerie pieces. I love playing dark pieces. But that's what O Magnum is. That's literally what you do with O Magnum is you go away into nothing, but it's not an eerie nothing. It's just okay, the piece is done. We're just going to kind of go away. I think it's probably what the vocalists do. It may be something that the vocalists do with O Magnum, that they kind of just like slowly go into nothing itself themselves in their own unique way. And so one other one. So on the opposite end, so we have going into nothing. On the opposite end, we have something called a sforzando. This one is definitely a wind ensemble. This is a wind player dynamic. This one, I don't see it with vocal music. I don't know if pianists can be able to do a sforzando, or string players. This is a band thing. This is a wind thing. This makes a note really loud. But it's not like a bell tone loud. You're putting a strong emphasis on the notes. And the reason why I say this is a band thing, this one tends to be used a lot in marches. Like some of us were talking about Sousa earlier. Sousa is the March King. He wrote all of the marches, every single march that's used in America. Every single time you go to a concert ensemble competition, you know you're going to hear a Sousa march. You know, one out of 10 bands won't play a Sousa march. They'll play a different march, like an Italian march or something, which means the other 9 bands are playing Sousa. Sousa gets very boring. But let me show you, because we were talking about Sousa earlier and playing a Sousa march. I can show you guys. So this piece that I've played many a time as an instrumentalist. This is called Black Horse Troupe. This is written by John Philip Sousa, right there. And I kind of don't want to play the piece because of the fact that I have it up if people do want to listen to it. It's by President's Own. It's by the Marine Band. The recording I have is from President's Own. They're from the Marine Band, so they are like the best in America. Like the best. Only get into the Marine Band. But even then, like, this is a typical Sousa march. But the main one that I want you to focus in on is right here. Let me zoom in. Right here, this is where that sforzando is. It's an attack on the note, and then it's a back away because you're still mezzo forte. You're technically, like, this only works for this. It doesn't work for this and everything else. It's only here. This note and everything afterwards is mezzo forte. So da 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 da. That's the rhythm. Again, I've played this like 15 times. You could also do it with multiple. Like, you can do it as a fortissimo. We tend to kind of ignore that. We'll tend to just treat it as a regular sforzando instead of fortissimo sforzando. Because it's just, we want to sound good. We don't want to sound bad. And so in order to sound good, the director and ensemble has to make those kind of connections. And then we have our sforzando. Again, I'm not gonna play it. It's a march. It's a typical march that goes really fast. It's a typical march tempo. It's loud. It's a loud march. That's Black Horse Troupe. If you want to listen to it, let me know. I'll give you the recording that I pulled up. But it's Black Horse Troupe. It's by Sousa. It's a typical march. Sousa. But that is the last of the letters. Now we're getting into these. Let me look here. Okay. Excuse me. So now we're getting into the crazy symbols. I call these crazy symbols, but these symbols actually, with O Magnum Mysterium, and we're actually going to listen to another piece that uses these symbols as well. These are used a lot because it drives the story. These are what drive the story. These symbols are basically giant, long, greater than signs or less than signs, if you want to think of it in a math term. This is basically just a greater than or less than. It's not anything special to them. They're greater thans or less thans. The first one is a giant less than sign. There's less than, small number here, big number here. This is less than this. It's called a crescendo. A crescendo means you're going to gradually get louder. I love using crescendos a little more than the other one, decrescendos, because I like playing loud. I'm a clarinetist. I enjoy playing loud. It's easy to play loud. It's not easy to play soft. It's hard to play loud, but it's easy to play loud and clean, depending on how long you've been playing. So you start soft and you get louder. So like, say there's a piano here, we have a piano here, you're going to slowly get louder to fortissimo. Okay, so that's going into like the climax of the piece, or that's going from, we're not going to be in your face, to, okay, we're right here, now we're in your face, kind of thing. However, crescendos can just be put into music without a dynamic marking here and without a dynamic marking here. And so as instrumentalists, we know that, okay, whatever the dynamic marking has been, that's where we start, and then we're just getting loud. That's it. We're not going to a certain specific moment in time. We're getting loud. Crescendos can cover a line, it can cover a measure, it can cover 2 lines, it could cover a few notes, it could cover anything. There's no limit to how big a crescendo can be, just like there's no limit on how big a decrescendo can be. This is the opposite. Decrescendo means to gradually get softer. So naturally, you start loud and you get soft. Right here. Soft, soft, soft. Decrescendos, typically at the end of ballads, at the end of slow pieces, decrescendos will have like the spelling for niente, or they'll have the in there. And so that way for us, we know, okay, we're going into nothing, or they won't have anything. And for us, and as wind players, we kind of go, okay, we're just kind of getting softer and softer and softer and softer and softer. We're not necessarily going into nothing, but we're playing like quadruple piano. If that, like, that's just, that's what we know. Both crescendos and decrescendos are used as phrases in music. And so the piece that I want you to listen to next is called A Hymn Song on Philip Bliss. If you've ever gone to church, you're going to recognize what the actual piece is. If I'm not mistaken, it's Be Thou My Vision. If I'm not mistaken, I'd had to listen to it in order to be able to get the words. This is a piece that I've played forever. And this one is actually going to be a score. I found a PDF of the score, and we're going to look at the clarinet part, but it's only going to be for the phrases. And you'll see what I mean by phrases, because it's going to be a crescendo, decrescendo kind of thing. So let me go to a hymn song on Philip Bliss right here. Let me zoom in. There we go. So if you look just right here, we have piano, and then there's this huge crescendo. Again, crescendos and decrescendos don't have a length that they have to go to. They can be as long as they want, they can be as short as they want. Like this decrescendo, it's just a measure. It's for this. But then it starts up again, and then this is probably, and it goes big, and then it goes small into a mezzo piano. Alright, so I will try to follow along, but because this is a score and it's like this, it's a lot of scrolling, but it's still beautiful. And you'll see crescendo to mezzo forte. I'm glad I can be able to finally use all these terms. I love using all of these terms. We have another crescendo, but you notice how it goes into, there's not something right here. Now here, they have something right here, but they keep going, piano. But it's just, we're getting louder, and then we're just cutting it off. It's louder, and then a cut off. Let me see. Okay, making sure. So, and then we keep going, and it stays piano. It's piano, and it stays piano, because here is the main line. And I love this line so much. And this is where, if you've ever gone to church, you will recognize what this song is. Because it's so common in churches. Like, every single time I played it in university, I kept thinking of the words. Like, I wish I wasn't playing so I could kind of lip sync the words. But it was like, nope, I have to play it, so. And then, again, with the crescendos and decrescendos. Alright? I'm not going to go over the entire thing because, again, this is a score. This is a full-blown score. Alright. On a hymn song of Philip Bliss. I love this piece. You notice how they're slowly getting louder. And then it's stopped. You too. Thank you. Oh, wait. Here's the solo. Yep, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's not me, thou. Yeah, it is well with my soul. Yeah. With my soul is right here. Crescendo. And then the clarinets have it. Little brass has the echo. Piano, and then they start over again. This is the symbol just written out. So we'll see crescendo. We'll see the first 4 words for crescendo, first 5 words for crescendo, and we'll see the same thing for decrescendo. And see how it's F forte, brass choir, brass choir. One of them. Don't hide the others. Don't hide everyone. Crescendos go a long time, and then giant decrescendo into a piano. And the one time I would like to play low. Every other time I want to play high. I like playing first part. Why do you think I play clarinet? I love playing low on clarinet. All right, so before I give you homework and before we're done, there's one more piece I want you guys to listen to. And it's one of my favorite pieces. It's by my favorite composer. I love playing this composer. He's a sax player. He's from Louisiana. But he writes with a lot of clarinet melodies. And I love this composer. The composer's name is Frank Ticheli. I butchered his last name. It is kind of common in the United States. It is common for everyone to mess up his last name because it's Cajun. It's a true Cajun last name. And so this is the final piece that I want you to listen to. It is called Rest. And this uses everything most everything that I've taught you guys, that I've shown you. The only thing that's not in there is sforzandos and I think forte pianos, but everything else is. And so I want you to really listen to it and see how everything connects together and how all all of the dynamics make this piece, because this is one of my favorite pieces to play. I love playing Rest. I love playing anything by Frank Ticheli. Frank Ticheli writes a story with his music. Like all of his pieces, there's a huge story. There's a story arc that you're following. Once we get to another topic that deals with tempo and with speed, there's a piece that he wrote called Vesuvius that like I've played 5 times, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So I'm gonna go here, full screen. I wish I could change this to where it does 1 page at a time, but it doesn't. So Rust. Notice how it has everything we've covered. It has the pianist, it'll have pianissimo, it'll have piano, it'll have crescendos and decrescendos put together. It'll have them written out, it'll have mezzo pianos, it'll have forte, it'll have mezzo forte, and I think there's even a fortissimo in here as well. But this is a very beautiful piece. This is another piece that was also written as a choral piece, and Frank Ticheli changed it for band. And so naturally, with every composer or arranger, when they change anything from another ensemble to band, my instruments gets all of the fun parts. I love choral pieces to band because it means I get to express myself as an instrumentalist. I hate orchestra pieces to band because they think that I'm a violinist and I'm not. So this is Rest. And to give you an idea, this is from the Dallas Wind Symphony. And Dallas Wind Symphony is near and dear to my heart. When I was at Texas Wesleyan, getting my bachelor's degree, my clarinet teacher was, and I think he still is, one of the members of the Dallas Winds. He was a member of the Dallas Wind Symphony, phenomenal clarinetist. I miss him dearly. So Dallas Wind Symphony is very near and dear to my heart, and they're the recording that I have for Rest. So please listen to Rest. This is a beautiful piece. Once it plays. And then, like, again, decrescendos and crescendos can cover just certain notes. They don't have to cover a long phrase. It can be really short. I think the minimum, though, has to be at least 2 notes. There has to be at least 2 notes in order for it to be considered a crescendo or a decrescendo. Written in as well. But notice how this wasn't really loud. It was still kind of quiet. It still matches the entire theme of the song. this is hard to play this soft. This is hard. I'm just saying that now. I'm a clarinetist. I can say these things. Forte piano. You notice how it's a bum, bum. It's not really huge. And it's always over a long note. And this is something Frankie Kelly does. He'll write it out and then he'll actually put the symbols for it. And then there's this really cool line between the woodwinds. That's a forte to crescendo. This is the first time you've seen a forte in this entire piece. We're like halfway through it. But it is a slow crescendo to the forte step. That's what trained instrumentalists who've been playing for so long, that's what we kind of learn how to do. We're like, okay, we're going to start this decrescendo a few measures earlier than what it's written. And then it's just slowly going to piano, and may have changed it from piano to Nien. Da, 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 da. Like got loud and then quiet. Listen to the clarinets. And everything technically is still pianissimo throughout this entire thing, even with these crescendos and decrescendos. Just having a crescendo and decrescendo does not mean that there is now a new dynamic marking. There has to be one actually written in. Otherwise, the dynamic marking stays the same, no matter what. And again, clarinet line, and it's a decrescendo into nothing. Technically, there's no nothing, there's no in, but we know, okay, we're going into nothing, because that's how Frank Kelly writes. Like, that's how, this is how he writes. This is what he does. He'll go from, okay, we're going to decrescendo into nothing in this piece right here. But if you listen to how they did everything and how they performed everything, get out of that. It is gorgeous. I could talk about my love of Frank Kelly all day. I really do love Frank Kelly. I really do. He's like, I love playing his music. But that is just one of those pieces where it takes a lot of control. That's a control piece. Like, that's like O Magnum Mysterium. It's longer than O Magnum Mysterium. And there's all different kinds of levels. There's all different elements. There's not one main theme. Like, you notice that there's not one main line that's repeated throughout the entire piece. Like, unlike O Magnum. O Magnum has, this is verse 1, this is verse 2, this is verse 3, because it's arranged for band from choral. With choral pieces, they have that set structure. With band, we don't. We have, okay, we're going to do this here. Okay, we're going to do this here. Okay, we're going to end it here. And we're just going to throw dynamics wherever. That's band. All right, so that was the end. I do have a little bit of homework for you. Very easy, very simple. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's what you think. It's what you feel, or any of that. What I want people to do is I want you guys to listen to either First Love or Interlude Shadow. And Donna, Maddie, and I talked about this, and we all agree that Yoongi is the dynamic person. He puts dynamics into his music, and into his verses, into the actual music, and he's the dynamic king. I want you to listen to those, and I want you to write down any dynamics that you hear. Do you hear a crescendo here? Do you hear a decrescendo? Is this piano? Is it mezzo piano? Is it forte? Is he going triple forte for some, triple F for some reason? I want you to write it down, and the next time we have class, I'll tell you what to do with it. If you did do it, there again, you don't have to. This isn't required. It's just if you want to, you can. Blah blah blah. Whatever. I don't mind. But just listen to those and find out what you hear. And if you want this chart right here, this chart, and it does include this one, and this is the technical term for the crescendos and decrescendos together, is miso a voce. Yeah, miso de voce, and then diminuendo. These two kind of go together, and these two and this are like the same thing. It's just those are the technical terms for them. Let me know. I will gladly send this. Just DM us on Twitter or just tag us on Twitter, and I will gladly send it. Now, our next class will be at the end of June, June 27th. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this time frame or not. It may be a different time frame. I don't know. That's 2 weeks from. That's like 3 weeks from now, and I have I have progress reports due in 2 weeks, and so that one's going to be my main focus. But the next class will be over our clefs right here. These beautiful clefs. The actual staff and what the staff is and what it does and everything that goes on a staff before we get to notes. And then also the actual alphabet of music. Yes, we have an alphabet. It's very easy to remember, especially for us English speakers. It's very simple, very easy to remember. Thank you so much for coming to this. If you want to come again, the same class is going to be happening again in about 9.5 hours. This has been really fun. I'm glad that I got to have this chance to be able to actually help people and hopefully understand a little bit about music. I know this seems like, well, why do we need to learn about volume and dynamics when in fact this is something that is very essential to music altogether. And I hope to see you again on June 27th. I am looking forward to seeing all of the homework assignments and seeing what dynamics you hear whenever you listen to Yoongi doing Interlude Shadow or First Love. I'm personally going to do one on First Love because I hear more dynamics in that one than I do in Shadow. And also, First Love is about falling in love with, about his first love being the piano, and my first love was my clarinet. So I have a connection to there. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, your morning, afternoon, evening, good night, whatever time of day it is. It's a time zone thing. I have work to do. I have actual teaching. I have English teaching work to do. So I have my day planned out for me. But maybe I'll see you guys again tonight. Otherwise, I will see you at the end of June. Bye, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to stop streaming here.